It all begins when Eva catches sight of a young man sitting by himself out in the cold, quietly drawing on a cigarette. Drawn to his solitary and melancholy presence, she decides to break the ice, stepping outside to introduce herself and strike up a casual conversation. This stranger turns out to be Amir, a young Syrian refugee with a fascinating background. He reveals to her that he managed to master the Danish language simply by binge-watching tutorials on YouTube. He admits he fully anticipated landing in Denmark, but fate threw a curveball, bringing him to Norway instead. Utterly captivated by his charm and resilience, Eva volunteering as a language instructor at the local refugee center. During her classes, several of the other displaced students struggled to grasp her lectures. Seeing them falter, Amir doesn't hesitate to step in, eagerly offering to translate the complex lessons and guide his peers. This selfless leadership gesture leaves a lasting impression on Eva, deeply moving her. Their connection deepens even further during an unexpected encounter at the neighborhood library. Here, Amir opens up about his profound love for literature and even asks Eva to recommend a good romance novel, which only fuels her growing fascination with him. Not long after, while reviewing a routine group assignment, Eva stumbles upon a stunningly beautiful, heartfelt poem penned by Amir himself. While this piece of writing proves his undeniable artistic talent, a sudden crisis threatens everything. Eva discovers that the refugee center is facing a severe housing shortage, meaning Amir is on the chopping block to be transferred out of the area. Refusing to let him slip out of her life, Eva makes an incredibly risky and bold choice. She welcomes Amir directly into her own home, moving him into her daughter's vacant bedroom. This way, he can peacefully focus on his creative writing and his pending residency application. Now, living under the same roof, a strange incident occurs one afternoon. Eva happens to overhear Amir chatting on the phone, speaking absolutely flawless Danish. This immediately raises a red flag for her, making her wonder why on earth he isn't speaking his native Arabic to whoever is on the line. However, she decides to brush her suspicions aside for the moment and later invites him to go out for a swim. At the water's edge, Amir awkwardly admits that he actually has no idea how to swim. Smiling, Eva offers to give him a lesson. Surrounded by the absolute stillness of the deep water, the professional boundaries between them completely dissolve. The intimate physical contact builds up and culminates in a sudden, deeply passionate kiss that leaves Eva utterly breathless. However, the romantic bubble bursts the very next day when Eva receives a cryptic text message from an unknown number signed by someone named Bashir, thanking her for the previous night. Instantly sensing that something is terribly wrong, she confronts Amir right away, demanding to know the real truth. Left with nowhere to hide, the young man breaks down in tears and confesses everything. His real name is actually Bashir. He explains his tragic past, revealing that after building a life in Denmark for a whole decade, his entire family was suddenly deported back to war-torn Syria. Because he was legally banned from returning to Denmark, he became desperate enough to fake his entire identity just to get a fresh start and a second chance at survival here in Norway. Deeply moved by his raw vulnerability, Eva steps forward to comfort him. However, the heavy emotional atmosphere quickly shifts into raw passion, leading the two of them to share an intensely intimate night together. The next morning, Eva tries to assure herself that this crossroad was a one-time mistake that will never happen again, but she is completely kidding herself. She quickly finds herself entirely consumed and obsessed by him. From that point on, they begin sneaking around, spending every single free second wrapped up in each other in his bedroom whenever the house is completely empty. Their days become a whirlwind of stolen glances and highly risky, secret rendezvous. But their dangerous game nearly comes crashing down when Eva's husband makes an unexpected return home. A panicked Amir is forced to gather his things and slip out the back door just in the absolute nick of time. Despite the terrifyingly high stakes, Eva's dangerous obsession only grows deeper. She goes as far as booking a private cruise for just the two of them to celebrate the positive progress of his residency paperwork. But this fragile romantic illusion quickly begins to shatter. Amir suddenly starts pulling away from her, turning his attention and seeking comfort from someone named Harry instead, looking for a different kind of reassurance. Desperate to reconnect, Amir visits Eva at her workplace office. Within moments, the tension takes over and they recklessly cross the professional line once again. Only this time, their luck runs out when a colleague catches them red-handed. Panic completely sets in, and Eva's underlying jealousy reaches an absolute boiling point when she repeatedly spots Amir spending more and more time hanging around Harry. Unable to take it anymore, she corners him in her car, where the built-up tension explodes into a vicious, bitter argument. The fight reaches a brutal climax when Amir completely snaps, coldly telling Eva the harsh truth, that she is literally old enough to be his mother. Crushed, humiliated, and filled with blinding rage, Eva screams at him to get out of her car and out of her life for good. Yet the toxic mix of fear and obsession quickly pulls her straight back into his orbit. Terrified to her core that their illicit affair will leak out and utterly ruin her reputation, Eva tracks Amir down one final time. She forces him back into her vehicle, practically begging him to keep his mouth shut. Even though Amir is visibly uncomfortable and highly reluctant to be near her, she desperately uses physical intimacy as a weapon, trying to bind him to secrecy. It is nothing more than a desperate, final attempt to cling onto some form of control, but the catastrophic damage has already been done. Driven to the edge by guilt and spite, Eva ultimately confesses the truth about Amir's identity fraud to her husband, and the immigration authorities are immediately notified. This leads to a final, absolutely heartbreaking confrontation. A completely desperate Amir shows up at her doorstep, tears in his eyes, begging and pleading with her to retract the official report. He frantically warns her that being deported back to his homeland is a literal death sentence for him. But his pleas fall on deaf ears. Coldly turned away by the woman who claimed to love him, Amir is forced back into the dark shadows of deportation, leaving a hollow Eva behind to burn and destroy every single remaining remnant of their forbidden, shared past. If you like the video, make sure to hit that subscribe button and watch our other great videos on the channel.